Welcome to Study with the Best, the magazine show that's all about CUNY. I'm Tinabeth Pina. We're here at the beautiful Macaulay Honors College, and coming up on today's show, an astronomer looking for exoplanets, photographing marching bands, and so much more. But first, finding a purpose became exploring the unknown, and it was all written in the stars.
I was very fortunate to have been able to pursue my interests unhindered. I come from a culture where sometimes educated women are discriminated against. My father said that growing up, he had witnessed some women who were studying in college be victims of acid attacks. My name is Munaza Alam. I graduated from Macaulay Honors College at CUNY Hunter College in 2016, and I am currently a graduate student at the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. From a very early age, I had this sense of being other. My mom is from India, my dad is from Pakistan, so I was never quite Indian, I was never quite Pakistani, and then I was first generation, so growing up in America. And then I went to an all-girls Catholic school growing up, so I wasn't quite Catholic.
On top of that, Munasa chose a male-dominated field.
It was definitely intimidating to immerse myself into a male-dominated field. A lot of my classes were mostly male peers, but astronomy was different. I was part of a research group led by 3 strong mentors who were women. The BDNYC, Brown Dwarfs in New York City research group that is based here at the Museum of Natural History. And it's led by CUNY professors, Professor Emily Rice at the College of Staten Island and Professor Kelly Cruz at Hunter College.
After graduating, Munasa was selected as a National Geographic Young Explorer for her work in searching for Earth-like planets.
Currently, my project involves detecting and characterizing the atmospheres of planets outside of the solar system called exoplanets. And I do this using data from the Hubble Space Telescope. When we do this, we observe planets that pass in front of their stars, as seen from our viewpoint here on Earth. And so when that happens, the planet will block out a portion of the light from the star. So we will observe this, what we call a transit light curve, where there is a dip in the brightness of the star. The planet appears bigger or smaller, meaning that the planet will block out more light from the star. So we can use those variations in the size of the planet to figure out the composition of the planet's atmosphere, if it has one. I am continually in awe in A, what we can do currently. So I use data from the Hubble Space Telescope, and the signals that we're looking for are so small. It requires such detailed precision to process the data and analyze it and pull out what we're looking for. But what's even more exciting is this prospect that we have so many other telescopes coming online that are going to help us do this even better.
Munasa also mentors high school students, especially girls pursuing careers in science.
One of the biggest factors that is driving me to continue in astronomy and astrophysics is that I would love to get to a position where I can mentor other women in research and to be strong scientists in the future. I currently run an outreach organization with a colleague of mine up at Harvard. It's called Open Labs at Harvard, and we reach local Boston schools and we deliver talks on our research to the students, and then we have these breakout sessions to connect with the students and talk to them about our experiences and opportunities that they can face and answer any questions that they have.
Does CUNY have a place, you think, somewhere in there?
I hope CUNY has a place somewhere in there. I would love to return. I'm so immensely grateful for my CUNY roots and for all the opportunities that I have been afforded through CUNY. I would love to return and give back.
For Study with the Best, I'm Maria Vaimi.
In the last few years, Medgar Evers College has seen a growth in its student population, and Ari Goldberg went to campus to find out why.
Medgar Evers College was founded in 1970 specifically to serve the needs of the Central Brooklyn community, and traditionally it has always been a PBI, a predominantly black institution. But in recent years, there's been a growing focus on broader outreach, and one incident in particular helped galvanize support for these efforts, when in 2015 a Jewish student was punched by a passerby on campus. His friend, student Lakshmi Miraj, was there.
I was next to him standing, and it was actually 2 other girls, and I don't know what we were thinking, but we were all girls in the center parting and pulling him back. and then the guys jumped in. One of the most beautiful things was the response of the students, you know. Immediately students jumped in and, you know, they were like, not on Medgar Evers College campus, we don't like tolerate that over here. I had an experience where somebody was shouting hate statements at me, terrorist this, you're gonna blow up this, we don't want you here. And it was actually the first week I came from Trinidad and I was so frightened, I was in tears, and still nobody stood up on the train, nobody said anything, and I actually stopped taking the train for a while. So I told myself I'm not gonna ever stand up unless something like that happens. So it was just reflex, I guess. It just like, you know, I jumped in.
That spirit of inclusion is blossoming on Medgar Evers campus, as 3 years later, enrollment from Crown Heights Jewish Hasidic community is at its highest ever. Rivka Seldowitz is majoring in social work.
If I can go back in time and do an education again anywhere I want, you know, I would probably stay and do it again here at Medgar. So I grew up in the religious Hasidic community, so secular education is taught, but college preparedness is not the goal. Getting a higher education was never a dream. I never thought about it, I never considered it. From a very young age I worked.
Like many cultural enclaves, the Crown Heights Hasidic community is traditionally a more insular community. Religious studies often supersede secular pursuits. But Medgar Evers has made it a point to reach out to their central Brooklyn neighbors. Ethan Goligor is the Dean of Liberal Arts at Medgar Evers and has been instrumental in this initiative.
So as of a couple of years ago, with a president who was more interested, I think, than his predecessors in globalizing the curriculum and expanding the population, I think the interest in it has been around for some time. The actual initiative and the forming of committees, you know how academics are, they have to have committees for everything, started about 2 years ago, but it's taking off mainly this year, and I have been put in the position of making it one of my priorities.
Of course, it's one thing for a school to say they welcome diversity, but taking tangible steps to achieve that is something else. And it's not just lip service or a brochure tagline here. One of the things that makes Medgar Evers unique in its approach is something called experiential learning credit, where students with relevant life education can apply that experience for real college credit, all the while catching up with what they may have missed in classroom education.
There are private colleges that toy with the idea, but often it's misleading. They will tell a student, we'll give you credit for that prior experience, but it doesn't count toward the degree. Well, what good is credit if it doesn't count toward the degree? So we're not going to do that.
I felt that there was a safety net here at Medgar. When I was hit with an assignment to write a 2-page paper, you know, comparing articles, I didn't even know how to start thinking about how to format it, you know, and all I had to do was walk into a writing center and I got the support I needed for that. I didn't have to feel bad about not knowing how to do it. It was very natural and organic in the way that I was supported.
And the initiatives are working across the board, as stories like Rivka's have become more common. Not just Jewish enrollment is up, but also Asian, European, Native American, and Hispanic too. And that cultural exchange can be just as valuable as any time in a classroom.
A few semesters ago, I actually hosted a Friday night dinner, a Sabbath dinner, and I had a whole bunch of classmates come. And what we did is we shared our cultures, and we got to learn more about each other for purpose of understanding and just to appreciate each other's culture.
I was able to be myself. I didn't have to take off my hijab to fit in. I didn't have to say something to fit in. I just, you know, I just had to be myself, and they appreciated me for me, you know. That's one of the most beautiful things that I will miss when I graduate.
From Medgar Evers College and its ever more diverse and inclusive community, I'm Ari Goldberg for Study with the Best.
Known as a haven for lifelong learners, Think Olio is adult education reinvented. The classes were started by 2 CUNY students 3 years ago in their living rooms and are now held at multiple New York City venues, including the Strand.
Within like a month of having the idea, held the first Olio in David's living room, just with a professor from Hunter College who we invited to come teach. So we just sat around for 2 hours doing a close reading of passages from Vonnegut, and then there were like 3 or 4, 5. We always can never,
like a handful of people. It was all friends.
Yeah.
We got the word out just by putting it up on Facebook, just like a post, just saying, hey guys, we're doing this class in my living room. It's $5 to come attend it, and we started it that way.
That was when we kind of realized it would work.
Well, because the experience itself was amazing.
I had a friend who went to one of the very first Olios, and she came to me and said, I just went to the coolest class. These guys, they get professors to teach. And I, as the event director here at Strand, I'm always looking for more dynamic community events. So I reached out to them after the recommendation from my friend, and they were super enthusiastic to get involved. So we met up, and we've been doing stuff every Friday ever since then.
So we do the Strand every Friday night. We've worked with a lot of creative agencies that have event spaces.
And this is kind of a chance for people to, like, after their 9 to 5 ends during the day, just come and kind of take those classes that you maybe missed out on while you were in school or didn't get to go to school. It's just like a high-level education outside of the university.
'We really get a full spectrum of people. We get people who are PhD students in the topic that night and people who have never heard of the topic and just maybe got invited by a friend who wanted to show up and have a drink and be in this casual environment.
95% of our professors are CUNY, maybe more. Yeah, we have, sometimes we'll get recommended a professor from another school, and we're not going to turn them down if they're interested in teaching and they seem really great. But when we do our actual outreach for professors, it's 100% CUNY professors. One other thing that makes CUNY professors really good at this is they're used to teaching to a random classroom. Like, you never know who's going to be in a CUNY classroom, whereas a lot of other professors are used to a specific type of student and they can teach to that. But with our events, you have to be able to speak to everyone in the room and you have no idea who they are.
We just had some of the best professors of our lives at CUNY, so we just have a high threshold and have had a lot of success with CUNY teachers.
So if you've not read Foucault, drop everything that you're doing for the rest of the weekend and spend all your time doing that. This is so awesome.
Jamie Warren, she's been teaching for us for maybe 2 years at this point, which has been really amazing. She's become one of our closest friends, which is awesome, but she's also constantly pitching us new ideas for Olios.
She uses Olio, I think, to get out of her own head and use it as a public platform, where if she has an idea, if she thinks she's onto something, she wants to test it with our audience because she knows a lot of really smart people come and will challenge her, and so she's not afraid of that, which we really value. There's lots of incentives for the teachers. First and foremost, what we've heard from our professors is just the platform to actually be able to speak about these ideas outside of a restrictive environment where they don't have a syllabus, there's no time limit that they can only spend this amount of time on the book that semester. Yeah. Teachers usually make about 40% of the ticket sales. That was always our mission, to make sure that they were making enough money for it to be worthwhile for them.
The growth that we've seen with the program over the past 2.5, 3 years has been very impressive, enough so that I don't even have to think about it. It's just every Friday night, these guys get in, their audience shows up, everybody has a great time, and we're really proud to have been a part of that growth.
We actually have a lot of things we're really excited about right now. We want to launch a fellowship for professors where we can actually fund research that'll be 5,000 to 7,000 pages in a book that we'll fund and print and sell through our network. And they'll also work on that research through working seminars with our audience. We also have an idea for a Olio retreat, which is something that a lot of our professors are very excited about. But yeah, sleepaway school. Is that what you thought? Yeah.
A visiting scholar at City College tells us about a micro-community in the Bronx. Ernabelle DeMillo has that story.
Between 1975 and 1994, more than 1 million Southeast Asians came to the U.S. as part of this country's largest refugee resettlement program. Many from Cambodia came to the Bronx in the 1980s, as many residents there were leaving. Now the story of the Bronx Cambodians is being told in a new book.
I'm a girl who was born in Cambodia, grew up in the refugee camps, and raised in the Bronx. And that identity, to me, the core of that is being Cambodian.
Chaya Chom was a young girl when she arrived in the Bronx with her family. Her mother had fled Cambodia when the brutal Khmer Rouge regime took over the country, killing and torturing millions. The lucky ones found themselves in camps in Thailand and the Philippines. Chom says her mother, who moved from camp to camp, longed to move to the U.S. wanting a better life for her children.
And you know, in the refugee camps, before we came, they showed you videos of what it was like to live in the United States, and you know, how to open the television, the refrigerator. So it was an opportunity for me, not necessarily for herself, but for her two children, my sister and I, to thrive, because she survived the war and violence.
In 1985, as part of the largest refugee resettlement program in the U.S., Chom's family found themselves in the Bronx.
So this building right here, where the Battambang market sits, was one of the first buildings that Cambodian refugees were resettled into.
Professor Eric Tang is a former community organizer in the Bronx and a recent fellow at CUNY's Asian American Asian Research Institute. He is author of the new book, Unsettled: Cambodian Refugees in the New York City Hyper-Ghetto.
After the 1960s, many of the middle-class families moved out of the ghetto, were pushed out, and left behind were the poorest of the poor. And so sociologists refer to this new era of the ghetto, which is not just racially segregated, but economically homogeneously poor, as hyper-ghettos.
According to historians, 55% of the Cambodian refugees resettled in areas that had been abandoned and distressed, not just the Bronx in the 80s, but Providence, Rhode Island, Philadelphia, and Lowell, Massachusetts. The 10,000 Cambodians who settled in the Bronx also faced poverty, violence, and discrimination.
And I recall when I was growing up in the Bronx that my uncle used to always experience violence, always getting beat up and always fighting all the time because he was in high school, so he was a lot older than me. And our people getting robbed and living in poor conditions with no hot water when we were resettled into the most horrible buildings. The condition hasn't changed.
The Cambodians shattered the stereotypes of the so-called model minority.
So the Cambodian population here in the Bronx economically reflect what's happening with Cambodian refugees across the country. And that is, they've maintained some of the highest poverty rates, some of the highest unemployment rates, and some of the highest high school dropout rates in the country.
80% of the population receives some kind of welfare assistance, and many in the community continue to suffer from PTSD, the horrors of war still lingering in their everyday.
We have in the U.S., with respect to our refugee policy, this doctrine of work first or work immediately. It doesn't matter if you just came from a war zone and haven't healed from the mental and physical traumas of war. We want you to get a low-wage job immediately.
And there hasn't been much improvement in 30 years. According to the latest census data, 42% of Bronx Cambodians live in poverty, close to 24% are unemployed, and 62% had less than a high school education.
I don't think our U.S. refugee policy is really a resettlement policy. It's a policy that says, okay, here's who we're going to take from certain countries based on our geopolitical interests. But once they're here, there isn't a plan economically for how they're going to be fully integrated and develop the social and economic capital they need to secure livable wage jobs for the long haul.
Today, the Bronx is a different place. It's still New York City's poorest borough, but crime and unemployment are down and businesses are moving in. While many Cambodians left seeking better opportunities, this part of the Bronx still has the largest Cambodian population in New York and is known as Little Cambodia.
Unlike many Asian ethnic communities in New York City, there aren't the kind of normal ethnic signifiers that you see here in the Bronx for the Cambodian population. Restaurants, mom and pop shops, even social clubs you don't see the signage like you do in Chinatown or Koreatown. And that's because the refugees who came here were largely penniless. They were not capitalized ethnic entrepreneurs that could then establish what sociologists call an ethnic economy.
Because the Cambodian population is shrinking, those still here have to fight harder to make sure their community is being served. One woman who continues that fight is Chom.
There's so much opportunity, but there's so much pain too. You know, I think the Bronx haven't really recovered from the 80s, the war on drugs. I want to be part of that recovery. We came when people were leaving, and we're not going to leave. We're going to be part of rebuilding this community.
She wants to leave her mark. She has been an active community organizer since she was a teen, and now she is founder of Mekong NYC.
The mission is to really organize the Southeast Asian community to stand up for themselves through arts and culture, through organizing.
This former refugee is raising her family in the Bronx. She doesn't live too far from where she first landed, and she isn't planning on leaving anytime soon.
I think the Bronx is amazing. I think I would not want to be raised anywhere else except for the Bronx because I'm a badass because of that.
Black marching bands are an important aspect of African American culture, and Queensborough Community College professor Jules Allen captured these musicians in all of their glory in a photo book called Marching Bands.
Fundamentally, I didn't know what a marching band was. I mean, from the inside out. And once I began to think about investigating the magic that I saw in front of me in parades and its activity, and to begin to see what it was that made this work, a world opened up about the process of marching band that both intrigued me and fascinated me, but educated me. My name is Jules Allen. I'm a photographer. I teach at Queensborough College. The book that we're talking about is a book of photographs called Marching Bands. And I published it here on the campus. The first time I saw a marching band, it brought tears to my eyes. It was one of the most magnificent displays of human celebration that I had ever seen. I saw Morgan State marching down the street in Harlem, Lenox Avenue. I can't even begin to tell you how beautiful it was. I'd never seen it live. And then there was another band, and then there was another band, and then there was another band. And they all had this fundamental magic. But when the bands who had the high magic, the book took about 5 years to photograph. The initial early photographs were made in New York City. And then from there, I went to Philadelphia, DC, Chicago, Texas, Louisiana, Florida. Because then I began to find out about particular parades that were specific to African American culture. In Chicago, there was the Bud Billiken Day Parade, which is the largest black parade in the country. Well, I had never heard of it. Joe Lewis, in his text, has this beautiful, beautiful essay on the history of marching bands and how in black cultures, marching bands carried information at one time. When we weren't allowed to read or write, it was the marching bands that carried information, that transmitted information. From there, the military. And if you couldn't participate as a soldier fighting, you in the military were part of a marching band, which came back to the United States in the streets, and then the church got involved. And so we developed our own take on the marching band. In Florida, the band director at Florida A&M created the whole marching band culture that's specific to how we do things, particularly in the rhythms of the drum, a la Africa. And the idea that the marching band is about discipline and practice and focus, not this, that, that. No, 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 no. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Day in, day out, practice, practice, discipline. This is the photograph for me that was the most significant in the book, because I didn't know what this was. To learn a part of an activity that was so prevalent in the culture that I didn't know anything about. After all is said and done, the band is in the stadium. The band is in the stands. Here comes the drum major, and he's got this hand hooked behind him, and he's got this staff. After all this, all these people stand up, and here comes this cat with this. And it's just like, whoa. And I had never seen it up close. And that I was lucky enough to photograph it. You know, not lucky enough, I tell you that. I was good enough to photograph it. The most rewarding and gratifying part of photographing the marching band was learning how to do it, because I didn't know what I was looking at. And it took study and learning and practice and discipline. I had to get up at 6 in the morning, 4 in the morning, because the cover photograph of the sousaphones and the light, with the light bouncing all over, I went out the day before and saw where they were gonna line up. I saw where the parade was gonna start. So I knew that's where the instruments would be. I looked east and said, the sun's gonna rise in that direction. I knew this. If I'm there when the sun comes up with those instruments, those big brass instruments, baby, and there it was. That, to me, was learning. That I was actually teaching myself to master the craft.
That's our show for today. For more information on any of our stories, log on to our website at CUNY.TV or check out our Study with the Best Facebook page. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.